She's just a kid. Why is no one helping her? Clint Eastwood said through clenched teeth, his voice cutting through the noise of the busy sidewalk. A little girl stood alone, holding a tray of hand-stitched dolls, her eyes swollen from the cold. People walked by. Some smirked, some ignored, one even muttered, "Go home, beggar." That's when Clint stopped dead in his tracks. "She's not begging," he growled. "She's fighting to survive." He walked up to her, knelt down and asked, "Why are you out here?" Her voice cracked. "I need money for my mom's medicine. I'm just trying to help her." Clint didn't say a word. He took out his wallet, handed her a bill, but he wasn't done. He turned around, looked at the crowd and shouted, "If this little girl can do all this for her mother, what's your excuse?" A silence swept over the street. What he did next would shut down traffic, flood the internet, and change the girl's life forever. Clint picked up one of the dolls and held it high. "These aren't toys," he said loudly. "They're her survival." Within minutes, people began to gather, unsure if this was a movie scene or real life. But the emotion on Clint's face was raw. He wasn't acting. "How much are they?" someone asked. Clint looked at the girl. "You tell them." She hesitated, then said softly, $10. Clint turned back to the growing crowd. "You heard her. $10. But if you have a heart, you'll give more." A woman stepped forward with a $50 bill. Then a man gave $100. Cameras came out. A local news van screeched to a stop nearby. The crowd grew larger, and then Clint did something nobody expected. He called his foundation and set up a fund in the girl's name, on the spot. "Every dollar here goes to her family, and I'll match the total myself." The girl stared at him, stunned. "But," Clint just smiled. "You stood here alone and didn't give up. Now it's our turn." By evening, the sidewalk had transformed into a sea of generosity. Over $30,000 had been raised in just 3 hours. But that wasn't the real shock. The real moment came when Clint received a quiet message on his phone, a video from a nurse in a small rural clinic. The girl's mother was already there, but they were turning her away due to unpaid bills. Clint didn't even blink. "Get me the clinic's number," he ordered. Seconds later, he was on the phone, calm but firm. "This is Clint Eastwood. That woman is getting treated now. If she isn't, your clinic won't have a reputation left by morning." The silence on the other end was deafening. 30 minutes. Later, the mother was in a bed receiving full treatment, paid in full. The little girl sat beside Clint, speechless. But then she whispered, "Are you an angel?" Clint chuckled. "Nah, just someone who hates seeing good people suffer." Cameras captured that moment, a tired man and a brave little girl, sitting side by side like old friends. The next morning, news vans crowded the street outside the hospital. But Clint wasn't interested in attention. He was already one step ahead. He had arranged for the girl and her mother to be moved into a safe permanent home, donated by an anonymous fund. What the media didn't know was that the fund was started by Clint himself, years ago. And the twist? That little girl, Maria, reminded him of someone, his own sister who passed away when no one could afford her treatment. Clint had vowed that no child would suffer like that again. A reporter asked him, "Why go this far for someone you just met?" Clint looked straight into the camera and said, "Because someone should have done this for my sister. I won't let the system fail another girl." The room went silent. Even the reporters couldn't hide their tears. That clip went viral worldwide. Millions shared it, millions cried, and millions asked themselves, what if we all did just a little more? 1 week later, Clint Eastwood stood beside Maria as she cut the ribbon on her new home. Her eyes sparkled with wonder. But what truly stunned the world was what happened next. Clint handed her a letter, sealed with his initials. Inside was a full scholarship to any school she dreamed of, including Stanford, Harvard, anywhere. But even more shocking, Clint had quietly launched a nationwide initiative called No Child Left Behind, for real. This time, It offered healthcare, housing, and education to hundreds of kids like Maria. Funded almost entirely from Clint's own royalties and backed by friends who believed in him, the program exploded across social media. But for Clint, it wasn't about praise. He told a journalist, "You want to fix the world? Start with one child." That sentence became a global slogan. Murals, t-shirts, even school banners echoed those 9 words. And the girl who once sold dolls on the street? She became the symbol of a movement bigger than anyone imagined. Years later, Maria stood on the TED Talk stage, confident and composed. She was no longer the little girl on the street. She was now a doctor, activist, and founder of a global children's foundation. As the lights dimmed and the audience held their breath, she said one line that shook the world. "I was just a nameless girl until one man saw me." A photo of Clint Eastwood flashed behind her, the man who changed her fate with nothing but kindness, courage, and quiet rebellion against a broken system. The crowd rose in applause, tears in their eyes. Clint wasn't there to witness it. He was never one for the spotlight. But somewhere, far from the cameras, he smiled, because he knew. He didn't just help a girl. He started a ripple that would outlive him. You dare check in twice?